Hey, Jesse.
It's Flashback Friday, and today's topic is pets.
Who's this, John?
John, is that Jessie? You say hi to the kitty? Meow. Do you like Jessie?
Here, Jesse.
Jessie's a good kitty.
Be soft, Jeff.
Oh.
Maybe a little too hard, buddy.
Bye-bye. That's right, the kitty. What does the kitty say? Meow.
Are you done?
Meow. Say bye-bye. Say I love you. Good
You
job.
can even go get her if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get her. Are you gonna be? Oh, she's right here. Sorry, Jessie. It must be done. So I got Jessie when I was 1.5. It was January. School had been canceled because of the snow, so Dad was home. So you guys just decided to take me to the pet store to just like look around. But then we saw this kitty, a newborn kitten, and we just ended up getting her. So we walked out of the pet store with a cat and all the stuff needed for a cat. I think this might be one of my funnest because she always got into these fights with a different cat when we lived 2 or 3 houses ago. Hanley, Jessie. 2 or 3 houses ago, and once I was just like, okay. I walked into the garage, grabbed the baseball bat, was like, hey cat, come here. Sit in the sun, and then just lie down and do nothing. And she also...
Why don't you show us some of her favorite spots?
Right here, when the sun is shining right through here, right about there, because I'm like, Jessie, did the darn sun move again?
Really? What about the toy room?
Yeah. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. Jessie got out, and we don't want her outside anymore these days.
It was yesterday.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
And she got out, and she nearly made it all the way under the car. Just don't want her out.
So she doesn't run away. So this is my dog. When I got him, I was 5 years old, and I really wanted a dog. I actually wanted a girl dog, but it didn't end up happening that way. So we got in a place called Teddy's Rescue. But I actually wanted a girl dog, but we ended up getting him. I was about 3 or 4 or 5, around that age. Actually, the dog hates. The cat hates the dog, but the dog likes to play with the cat. One of his favorites. Well, we didn't know what we were gonna name him, so we just named him after a street because that's where I was born. Now I'm gonna show you some of his favorite spots. It's the couches. The couches are some of his favorite spots. He really likes to curl up by John when he's sleeping, like right there, but he doesn't get to his face. Good thing.
girl. I was an only child for the first 6.5 years of my life, and so pets were really important to me because they were like my brothers and sisters. I had a dog named Soxy, and he was my good pal. And then my grandpa, who had a farm, he gave me a lamb whose mother had abandoned it. They call that a bum lamb. And when I was in kindergarten, I thought I was pretty cool because I had this lamb. So I had my lamb and my dog in the backyard, and they would sleep next to each other, and they became good friends. The lamb would eat the dog food, and the dog would eat the lamb food. Well, one day, my dad and mom decided that it was just, the lamb was just getting too big, and in the neighborhood that we lived in, a lamb wasn't a good idea to keep. And so we had to, I remember going to the auction and selling my lamb, who, by the way, I named after the prettiest girl in kindergarten. Her name was Sue Ann, and so I called my lamb Sue Ann. Well, the day of the auction came, and I remember going with my dad to sell the lamb, and I was just beside myself in tears. And I remember a man sitting next to us turned to my father as Sue Ann was going out to be sold at the auction, and he said, "You know, sir, you really ought to buy that lamb for your child." My dad said, "Shh, we're trying to sell her." I just kept crying, and I think we only made $24 off the sale of that lamb. And I was going to use that money for Christmas presents, to buy my mom a blanket for Christmas. We did end up getting the blanket, but I don't think that we spent any of my $24 on that, because I remember my dad taking me into a store in the mall where we found a stuffed lamb, and I had to have it, and I wouldn't go home until I got to bring this lamb home. And as you can see, she's been well loved, and she even plays. You can hear that through the baby. She even plays Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Ready?
Whenever you are, it's going.
We had a lot of pets when I was a kid. My dad was a veterinarian, and I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I think it was actually more my older sister's fault that we always had lots and lots of pets. She was the kind that would rescue the chipmunks and the squirrels and the stray cats and things like that. But when I was little, I remember there was one pet that I always thought of as mine. All the rest were always the family pets. We had lots of cats, we had dogs all the time. I know. Don't snap at me.
It's just you were looking down the whole time.
I was looking at John.
Okay.
I was just little. I was probably 3 or 4. So when we still lived in New Philadelphia. So we moved out of there when I was 6. But it was an all-black cat, and we called him Jimmy. And we had him since before I can remember. But I guess I always thought of him as mine because he would hang out with me in my bedroom at night when he was inside. He was a bit of a prowler, so he'd go outside a lot of the time at night. But I would wake up, and he'd be hanging out on my windowsill on the outside. And he was also a bit of a biter, and I was the only one he didn't bite. So I guess I felt like he was mine because he didn't bite me. And then, Jimmy was also really good at bringing birds and squirrels into the house, which drove my mom crazy. Or we'd let Jimmy in, and he'd bring a bird, and it would start flapping around, which was crazy, and it drove Grandma nuts. And then one day, Jimmy was gone, and we can only assume what happened. And I put signs out, and we tried to find him for a while, and then we gave up and just assumed that Jimmy must have gotten hit by a car or something, and that was it. That's the only pet that I ever really considered mine of all the pets we had growing up. That's it. Thanks for watching. Next Friday we'll be back with another Flashback Friday, and in the meantime, we'll see you soon. Bye.